Okay, let's, we can get started. I was looking at my notes to get ready for this, and I was shocked to discover that it's been 5 years since I was here. I thought maybe a year and a half, maybe 2, but I guess what happens when, so it's been 5 years since I was here, and we taught a couple of classes. Actually, I think we taught 2. It's a 6-hour program, a lot to cover in 6 hours, which is why obviously we really need to start on time, because otherwise it's going to be a rush. And the concepts are relatively simple, but they're hard to digest the first time. I mean, I say it easy, and I maybe write it on the board, but like water on a sponge, it just sort of takes some time to sort of get in there. So, okay, so do your best to get here on time, and so we can have the full time for this. In looking at my notes from 5 years ago, I was interested in what's changed. And what's changed since 5 years is the emphasis that I'm going to talk about in the next bunch of hours. The emphasis has changed because the industry has created new ways of investing, interest rates have changed, other things have changed. So the emphasis has changed. What's fascinating is the basics have not changed at all. And in fact, this book was written 45 years ago. 45 years ago, by Benjamin Graham. It's called The Intelligence Investor. I must have bought it 20, well, you can see it's kind of dog-eared and torn. And, it's not a novel, you can't read it, but in the end.
You can just pick a page and
But you have a question and say, well, what is that about? And zingo, you open up. And if you read articles about investing, this book is mentioned all the time. This is the Bible of investing. Now, it was written 45 years ago. And it's relatively easy to read, you know, for a financial book. It's not an academic book. So, why is it that the stuff I'm going to be talking about is literally at least 45 years old? So why is it so hard for so many people?
This temptation is everywhere.
Oh, I love your answer. The answer is temptation is everywhere. So let's talk exactly about it. Okay. If you turn to page 3, you'll see a little thing that says what?
Personal finance, 20% head.
The behavior is the
Okay.
most important.
So 20% is what, this is like 25, right? This is 20%, right? So, what we're going to talk about in 6 weeks, 6 hours, is this. And what's in here? Stocks, bonds, mutual funds, savings, diversity in terms of your portfolio, retirement, and anything else you want to talk about. Okay, so stocks, bonds, mutual funds, retirement, that kind of stuff. Okay. This is the easy part. It's in the book, it's been around for 50 years. The hard part is this. And what's that?
Behavior.
Behaviors. Okay. And the reason, by the way, that so much of this doesn't work in an academic setting, like they try to teach high school kids about this, and it doesn't work. And what does doesn't work mean? Well, you know, they put a bunch in a class and they teach them what I'm about to say or something version of that. They follow them 4 years later against those who hadn't taught. and there's no difference. Well, I think it's pretty evident why there's no difference, because everybody's talking about that.
Yeah.
And when you're a teenager, what do you know from behavior? You just want to go out tomorrow night and go have a party.
$1,000 phone.
Say that
Not
again?
working.
You-
They want a $1,000 phone and not work.
Okay. Well, they're not working.
I want a $1,000 phone.
Well, so do
I.
I.
For it.
That's not
We
just
are-
teenagers, honey, that's
It's not,
everybody.
it's not a bad thing to want it.
Right.
I want a $2,000 phone and not work.
Right.
Okay, so it's not, okay. So, what we're going to talk about today, for the most part, is this. And I'm telling you, this is the hard part, because by the time you get done in 5 hours, well,
Hello, sir.
my prize student.
She's tardy. I'm tardy.
It's so nice to see you.
I'll wait for you to see.
Okay, so we're not going, so for the 5 weeks, we're going to talk about stocks and bonds and mutual funds and retirement and all that kind of stuff. But today, we're going to focus on the hard part, which is behavior.
Okay.
All right.
That's hard.
This is the hard
You still have
Okay,
your
so
binders?
now-
Like 5 years ago? Uh-huh.
It's been 5 years, I was, that's the book. It's changed a little, changed a little.
Okay.
Okay, So- so let me hear from you about what behaviors affect your financial health.
Emotions. Oh.
What behaviors?
Shopping too much.
I like that. Right.
And why is that a problem?
Because if you don't make as much as you spend,
Well, my wife loves to shop. Shopping itself is not a, is that a problem?
No.
Okay, so what's going on with shopping too much?
Shopping beyond your needs.
Shopping beyond the means, what's that mean?
Spending more than you make.
How do you?
Or spending it before you make it.
Well, okay, there's a lot of.
Credit cards.
So it's beyond, it's greater than your means, okay? And that means what? I don't mean to be flip with this answer. That mean, what does it mean, shopping beyond your means?
Spending more than you make.
And what does that mean?
It'd be-
How do you,
Outputting more than inputting.
okay. How do we know we're spending more than we make?
Because you don't have any money left over, but you bought it anyway.
So you're looking at your checkbook
credit card.
or your credit card. So your financial behavior is based on credit card limits? Maybe? How much money's in your checking account?
Yeah.
Interesting. Okay? So you limit by your funds. Okay, what else? What other behaviors,
Commitment
and what does that mean?
means maybe making a commitment to yourself about savings and not living
Ah.
into it.
Commitment on savings. And what kind of commitments do you think we should be talking about?
It's being conscientious about a formula and coming up with a percentage or a dollar amount and then living into that commitment.
And how do you come up with this percentage or dollar?
You.
The 20% that you talk about here, that's now,
It's, right? Yeah, we're talking about now the 80%. We're talking about this part.
yes.
Okay, so the question, so we're listing behaviors on here that affect your financial health. And so the last one was a commitment on savings. So my question is, how do you make a commitment on savings? How do you figure out how much it is?
There are formulas for people that live in this world and you follow their formulas.
And what are those formulas?
Usually say like 10% off the top.
10%? Okay.
I think you have to figure out what was gonna work for you, right? Like,
Yeah.
you have to know where you are and then
How do
know
you?
where you wanna go.
Okay. Excellent. How do you know where you are? How do you know, that's a great point. How do you know where you are?
You calculate your income, you calculate your expenses, you
Yeah.
are hopeful that there's something left over, and then you,
How many of you calculate your debt? How many of you actually, first of all, you know how much income you have, right? You probably look at that all the time, you look at it every 2 weeks. You wish Cindy would give you 40% more, so you know what that number is.
You need something, right?
You pay your income tax, right?
I'm sorry.
You pay your income tax, and there it is again. So the income side is relatively easy for you to understand. How about the expense side?
I mean, I know how much my expenses are.
Do
Like
you?
like, I guess I know how much my household expense is. So then I know that I have all the other money to spend however I want.
Okay, so you have two pots. That's a great point, because most of us do exactly that. So you have 2 pots of money. One is you gotta pay the rent,
Yeah.
else they're gonna kick you out.
Yeah.
And everything else is discretionary. Now, I know nothing about running this business, nothing, literally nothing. I've never talked to Cindy about it. So Cindy, let me just rattle on it a few minutes.
Go ahead.
Okay, so Cindy's running this business. How much effort, on a scale of 1 to 10, do you think she worries about the money coming in? Does she know how much money's coming in? Why does she have to know? Huh?
Well, for
Or even if you had a little
To
business,
stay in business.
to stay in business. So she would have to know how much to charge, how many people per minute come in, what days to open. We all, okay. Which is sort of analogous to you understanding how much money you make, right? It's right there in front of you. Now, from Cindy's perspective, how much effort do you think she places on the expenses? What do you think?
100%.
What's that?
100%.
100%.
100%. Why? Why doesn't she just have this, I gotta pay the rent for this beautiful place, and I gotta pay the salary, and everything else, whatever. Why doesn't she do
No,
that?
but it's the same thing.
Why,
Because,
I'm saying, why doesn't she do that?
well, she does. I mean, everybody, well, to a point, because you know that you need to make your payroll. Well, no, you need to make your payroll, you need the money to buy the products, you need the money to do this. With what's left over, you can buy gift cards, you can buy whatever, but you're not putting
So-
it in the same
So you think she's
pot.
rather cavalier about the...
No, not at all, but I
No.
just think that there's what you need and then how you work with what's left over. The profit you made, how you divest it
So you
back
think
into
she
the
looks
business.
at the end of the month, looks at how much money's left in the checking account?
Well, not at the end of the month, I
End
think
of
at
the
the
day?
end of the year.
End of the year, so all this money's sort of building up all year long, up and down?
Maybe, because
Okay.
you could have a high month and a low month.
Okay, what do the rest of you think?
No.
No, what do you think? Tell us.
I mean, I think everyone pays attention to all of the money that comes through.
Okay,
Because there's a lot of factors,
okay,
right? There's, like she brought up, said, like products and
Uh-huh.
rent and all this stuff, and then you still have payroll. Like you have so many parts.
right, for sure.
So, yeah.
So you think she had, but you earlier said on a scale of 1 to 10, it's a 10. I think you said that. Because she really has to have a handle. If she doesn't have a handle on all the expenses, what's gonna happen?
We're in trouble.
Yeah, we're all in trouble. This place is in trouble, she's in trouble, you're in trouble. Okay, so I think you're absolutely correct. We all have a good handle on the income side. On the business side, you better have the same energy level on the expense side. On a personal level, we don't do that. We don't do that. What do we do? A couple of things we just said. We pay for the rent, we pay for the car, and we look at our checkbook and we see what's left. Nothing's left, then we won't go to movies tomorrow night. The money's left, we go. Not quite the same as running a business.
Okay.
Okay. And I gotta tell you, about 25, 30 years ago, when I didn't really understand any of this stuff. I literally didn't understand. And I was reading an article just to try to get my head around this problem, and they said you have to run this like a business. Now, I ran a small business, nothing like this. But that was the words that clicked for me. And that was like 40 years ago or something. And I still remember reading that line in the paper, which means you got to have as much discipline on the output side as you do on the input side. And just like you got to figure out, do I leave this place? Do I go somewhere else? Do I get other training to increase my skills? All the stuff we go through on the input side, we hardly do that on the other side. So it's no wonder that a lot of us are in trouble behavior-wise because we don't pay enough attention to that part of it. Okay, what other behaviors do you think affect the financial well-being of all of us? Any other thoughts come to mind? Any other challenges you have?
That affect the behavior?
What's that? I'm sorry?
That affect behavior?
Yeah, we're still talking about the behavior part of this equation.
Probably like your family.
What's that?
Family.
What about it? Okay.
Like, you know, everyone always wants money or they want something.
Ah, okay, okay. And so what happens with that?
You have to say yes.
You what? Say that again, a little louder.
You have to say yes.
Oh, wow. I hope, can you open up a business?
No.
Please do that, because I love to work for you. And the first thing I'm going to do is walk in and say, what's your name?
Julia.
Julia. Oh, I love this. Julia, I want to raise it 20%. And Julia will say, of
Okay.
course. And Julia will say yes because she loves me, right? It's my way of saying, Dave, you're just, I love it. No. Okay, so what's going on here? In a business,
No control.
Cindy can go in that little office there and look at the income side, look at the expense side, and say, we can't afford it. At home, what happens?
It's personal.
It's what?
It's personal. It's different.
It's harder. Why is it harder? It's math, right? A minus B is equal to C. Why is it harder?
More emotion goes into it.
Why?
I have no idea. I'd like to know.
It's your blood.
I think part
What's
of
that?
I think
Is
so, like,
your-
it's your family, but also, like, it's expected. Like, it's not necessarily, like,
Well, I expect this pay 20, I expect 20% raise right after you open
but
your
it's
business.
different.
It's not! It's the same. I'm walking in and
Treat it
saying,
like a business, you said.
well, but behavior-wise, what's different? Exactly the same. What's going on?
It's the way we've been raised.
Yes, the same.
Well,
The
I
way
think
you've been raised, say more about that, please?
It's agreements that you've made that you feel are the correct way of doing things.
Okay,
That is what has been taught to you.
okay. So it's behavior-wise, okay,
We're just, repeating behaviors that
okay.
were taught to you.
Is it maybe about love? Maybe somehow, if you say no, oh my God, your kids won't love you. Oh my God, the worst thing in the world is your kids not to love you. I really worry. Get personal here. The last thing in my life I worry about is my kids not loving me. I don't know about you, parenting is not about doing so well at the end of the day. When all is said and done, the kids say, I give them a good raise, you did okay, gave me that. So, there's a lot of emotion with money. How do you get out of that?
Education
Of who?
of yourself and others.
If I come into you and say, Sal, here's my 20% raise, what are you going to say? You going to sit me down and educate me, or what? Tell me, what are you going to do?
why you deserve a 20% raise.
Why? I just got my annual report, you said I was doing great, I come here early, I set all this stuff up, I work hard, I stay late.
Educate them and just say, Dave, the business cannot support a 20% raise. You can have a 3% raise.
Okay. The analogy at home is,
No, go to your own.
no.
No.
Yeah, that's a good point. If you say, Dave, go to your room, I'm saying to you, sayonara, go down the street.
Just say with the mortgage is due, that this is due, that that's due. You're not gonna get a.
14 years old, what is a mortgage? I don't know what a mortgage is. I don't know. All I know is I won $1,000 cell phone.
Your
I won my
age.
$1,000 cell phone.
No.
No! Well, say that again the same way. Say it.
No.
Tell me how you would say no to me as the owner of this company. Would you say, no? What would you say?
Not today, Dave.
You showed the numbers. That's what Cindy does.
No.
Share the numbers.
I don't think so. I don't think Cindy drags out numbers. What'd you say?
Yeah, she drags out numbers.
What's that?
She drags out numbers.
Okay, but
I think I would have to.
we're
Because
talking
you
about
need to know
behavior
the
now. We're
numbers.
talking about behavior.
Okay.
What would you say? What would you say to me if I came in and say I want a 20% raise? First of all, you wouldn't say no, go to your room.
Say it's not possible at this moment.
Why not?
This is just not possible at this moment.
That's a repeat of what you just said.
Right.
Why not?
It's fiscally not possible.
Why not? I'm a 14-year-old now.
Oh,
But
okay.
Mom, everybody else, why not?
Dave, thank you for communicating your request. I'm not prepared at the moment to have this conversation with you. Let me look at the numbers and sit down with you and we'll evaluate it.
Okay, now I'm coming back. Now what? Thank you very much. I hear what you said. Now I'm back after you looked at the numbers. What would you say?
I would have to say, see what the numbers were. Maybe
Okay,
you do bring in enough income to qualify for 20%.
Do you think if you ran a company of 100 people and everybody came in and say, I want twice as much money, you'd sit down with the numbers all the time?
No, you set it up in advance.
And what would you say? Wouldn't you say something like, this is our pay scale, this is the amount of money we pay people? Wouldn't you set it up at a higher level of saying, this is how much we can afford for that kind of work that you do? Wouldn't you say that if you go to school and upgrade your skills to another job, we could give you a pay raise? Wouldn't you say something like we give annual salaries every year and we really have to stick with that because that's how I meant? Wouldn't you say those kind of things?
Yes.
Okay. That's what you would say, I think, and not, let me do the numbers and show you. Because you can concoct the numbers and not everybody needs to know what the numbers are.
Mm-hmm.
Because they will misinterpret numbers, okay. So what's the analogy at home in your behaviors?
Okay, so you're 14, you want a telephone, and how much are you going to contribute to this phone? How much?
Mom, are you telling me I have to work?
Well, you should have been working by now anyway.
Oh! I should have been working. I'm out of here with that
Well, you're a
statement.
new kid. You're a new kid. So
I'm out of here with that statement.
You're a new kid, so yeah.
Come on, talk to me. Talk to me like I'm a worker in a company. Come on. It's the same thing. What would you say? I want my $1,000 phone. Everybody else has one, and you only have to click once to get it, not twice to do something. I don't know what you do with these things. What would you say?
So are we talking to a child or are we talking to
Well,
a...
Yeah, any 14-year-old, 15-year-old, yeah, anybody.
You're 15-year-old.
15-year-old
Well, in
talking
this
to your
household.
15-year-old. And it could be your 8-year-old who wants $4 a day, I don't know. What would you say?
You have birthday money and if you come up to give a down payment, then we don't work.
Okay, so you have birthday money, you can, what, save yourself?
Right.
So, okay, excellent. Okay, what else?
We don't pay our children that much in this family.
You know what?
We don't pay our children that much in this family. If you go down the street, you can go to another family.
Oh.
But it's different.
So you're telling me that you don't love me, you'd rather be, I'd be mothered and fathered by somebody down the street, is that what you're trying to tell me, Mom?
That's exactly it, Dave.
The home and the business.
Notice what's, why is this so hard? And we're just getting started, we're just getting
Right.
started
Not
with
that.
behaviors.
I guess it's the emotional, your emotional relationship
Okay.
with to money and with money.
Exactly. And it's more than dollars and cents and
Right.
expenses minus, income minus expenses, okay. So, what advice you think I have?
Run your life like a business.
But not cold. This is a sweet place to work. It's nurturing, it's encouraging. I see signs all over the place that say education. Yeah. So your behavior's got to be like that. Caring, listening, firm. But you got to know what the numbers are yourself before you have this conversation. If you don't know what's going on in the world of finances that you have, you're more apt to react in what turns out to be a negative way to people you're talking to, like your kids. Because you don't know what's going on either. With you, it's an emotional thing. I don't know, but at the end of the day, I don't have any money, so I can't talk to you. Let me go over some behaviors that I wrote down for myself for the class. And then let's talk about it. Okay, first, spend less than you earn. Okay, that's actually the title of the book, of this whole thing, right? Spend less than you earn. That's easy to say and hard to do, because we've already talked about how difficult it is to know what our expenses are. And looking at the checkbook at the end of the day, month, isn't the way you run anything. Okay? That's not planning, that's sort of reactive. Okay. How about pay bills on time? What's that about? Is that hard or easy?
Easy, and it benefits your
Easy?
score.
Do you find it hard or easy?
No, it's easy.
Easy? Okay. Why is it easy? I'm not.
Because there's a penalty if you don't, so you're.
Okay, so you
Well,
know.
because
spending
you're
more.
obligated to pay your bills, so if you don't know what you're paying, you don't know how much money you have left over to spend.
It's easy when you have
I
money.
fell into that trap, didn't you? You gotta pay it to know how much it's, okay. Have a sustainable debt load. What does that mean? Have a
Can you word that a little differently?
yeah,
Easier?
yeah, have a debt means how much money you owe. Sustainable means you don't want to take on more debt more than you can pay.
Right, so it's easy to pay your bills.
Well, it's not only mechanically it's easy, I mean, you have the
No.
money to pay.
Right, that's what I mean.
That's right.
So what was that, have a sustainable?
What's
Debt
that?
load.
Debt load, I'm sorry, yes, sustainable debt.
So at the end of the month, you can go out to dinner.
So, do you
Or-
struggle with, do I pay this bill or that bill this month?
It's not advised.
That's not sustainable. I mean, for a short term, of course, if you have a medical emergency. But in the long run, you gotta really watch those expenses because your income is sort of predictable. Okay? You have credit cards? Who has a credit card? You pay it off every month?
Yep.
Every month.
No, so.
I got it. Sometimes you don't. Okay,
Not in full, not always.
Never.
okay.
I always do.
What do you think my advice is about credit cards? If you don't pay it off every month?
Don't
You're
charge
spending
anything
too much.
else.
Huh?
Don't
You're
buy it.
spending more than.
Cindy? Is there a scissors in here? No, no.
Yeah.
It's a
They're
metal.
right there, Sid. And that's nice.
Oh, yeah, yeah, there you go.
Okay, thank you very much. Here you go. Cut it up.
Oh, the credit card.
Of course.
I cut a bunch.
Cut it
I
up.
only have one.
Cut it up. There is no way any of this is going to make any sense for stocks, bonds, mutual funds to earn money if you have a credit card that you're not paying off every month. And so I'm not being funny about this, cut it up and live